TV manufacturers and OEMs have really changed their business model because of advertising. So before, you used to have to spend top dollar for the latest TV, especially when you looked at OLED TVs. They were $5,000, $6,000 or more. As we've gotten into the time of fast television and app integrations, you've entered a time in which the OEM can subsidize their television costs over the life of the TV itself with their advertisements. So it's really cool for the consumer themselves. I have two televisions at home. I have one LG, one Samsung. We are a diverse household of OEMs. And I was able to get them both at a good value because they have been subsidized by advertising.
So what's happening with viewer behavior?
I think in the future for viewer behavior, we're going to see a lot happening on video on demand. A lot has changed in vMVPDs or live stream, channel-based, like a TV guide type of experience, and we've seen that come with cable cutting and Samsung TV Plus and Philo and other versions of that. But I think we're going to see a resurgence of video on demand when it comes to these platforms. If you think back to the Paris Olympics, it was really cool if you watched it on streaming because you were able to choose an athlete, you were able to choose a sport, a country, and break out your viewing behavior that way, and you would be able to dictate what was on your screen at any given time. I think in the future, and when I say future, I'm talking 12, 18 months down the road, we're going to have that same ability with all of our content. We're going to be able to choose an actor, a decade, a certain genre, things that we would really want in a brick and mortar store. Like if you walked into a brick and mortar and you would go choose a movie, those things would be available to you. I think just around the corner, we're going to be able to do those things as consumers in a digital space.
And is it going to be an ad-free experience, or where's the role? Where will be the place for advertisers? I guess is my basic question.
Yeah, so it's going to depend on the platform, right? So you have SVOD and AVOD. You have the subscription-based and advertising-based. It depends on the platform and how they want to implement it. So you can always insert ads into the content, even if it is video on demand. You can have home screen ads. So if you do curate everything into a nice storefront, you can have ads that look like they're part of the content themselves, which are actually sponsored shows and movies and other things like that. There's a lot of opportunity to innovate there.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. I'm glad you raised that issue about these different ad formats or the ability to respond to what you see. Could you tell us a bit more about how that might work?
So it depends. So different ad formats can come in the stream itself. So you can have squeeze backs, you can have picture-in-picture, you can have overlays. But all of that is dependent on the SSAI or server-side ad insertion to stitch that with the content. So scalability isn't there right now because you need a lot of agencies developing assets for that demand to come through and for the stitcher to do that properly. However, when you look at home screen ads, that's all up to the manufacturer, right? So they can take what would traditionally be a 728 by 90 or 970 by 250, all of these different ad units that you see on display, they can move those over into CTV. The scale's already there, add them to their carousels, they can add them to their homepage, and the demand would be there immediately.
Looking ahead, is there anything that is really top of mind for you? Anything people should expect, or that you think is really important that's coming up in the next year, let's say?
The biggest thing that's coming up that I want agencies, brands, and publishers to focus on is the Open Measurement SDK. So it's been a year since 1.4 came out that brought in the ability to use OM SDK on CTV. But nobody's really adopted it. None of the big players have adopted it when it comes to publishers. But what this is going to do is it's going to enable true attention on CTV, not panel-based. We're not talking 5,000 households, 10,000 households. We're saying full attention for everybody that's watching television that integrates OM SDK. So you can say, this person changed the channel. They opened the menu. They clicked the Are You Still Watching button. I think it's a big part of making sure, one, that we don't have fraud in CTV and we nip that in the bud. But two, just giving that transparency will increase CPMs and publisher revenue over time as well.